Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 77th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Heroes. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 77, The Nomu Invasion begins. The entire area was surrounded by Nomu, along with students from other schools. Many students who were screaming at the sight of the monsters. "Where did these come from?" yelled one student. "What are these things?" yelled another one. "Are those its brains?" yelled a third. Aizawa took out the transceiver and hit the Aiko button. "Hey, you almost never hit my button," said Aiko. Then she noticed what was going on. "Say it." "Emergency Procedure 2320. said Aizawa. "Emergency Procedure 2320 engaged," said Aiko. That when all of the Aiko devices in range activated. "Pirate Boy checking in," said Aiko from Izuku transceiver. "Ninja Girl checking in," said Aiko from Machiko's transceiver. "Magic Girl checking in," said Aiko from Momo's transceiver. "Pony Girl checking in," said Aiko from Toru's transceiver. "Lost Boy checking in," said Aiko from Mashireo's bracelet. "Explodey Boy checking in," said Aiko from Katsuki's cuff. "Class Rep checking in," said Aiko from Ida's transceiver. "Shark Boy checking in," said Aiko from Kirishima's transceiver. "All devices engaged and are on their person," said Aiko from the devices. "Shark Boy?" asked Kirishima. "Your teeth, and the fact you don't wear a shirt," said Aiko. "The name works on multiple levels." "What?" asked Kirishima. "Kirishima, we need to be focusing on this," called out Ida. "Oh right," said Kirishima. Katsuki opened up his case and took out his swords, while Momo created a sword. "Are you seriously going to fight them?" asked Mina. Actually, Midoriya, Bakugo and Yaoyorozu has permission to fight them," said Aizawa, looking like he wanted to facepalm. "Are you sure?" asked Izuku. "Deku," sighed Katsuki. "I defeated the one back at the camp," pointed out Momo. "Oh yeah," said Izuku. "Also you might want to add Todoroki," said Aiko to Aizawa. "Why?" asked Aizawa. That was when he noticed that Todoroki had frozen one of them solid. "He did that before you gave the order, by the way," said Aiko. "In fact he did that during the check-in." Aizawa sighed and face-palmed. "All right. Todoroki, you can also help fight," said Aizawa. Todoroki nodded. "Don't worry, heroes are coming," said Aiko. "I told Hibiki and he's already on the way here. Other heroes should be here soon." "How long should he be here?" asked Aizawa. "A few minutes, don't worry," said Aiko. "The rest of you need to help evacuate any civilians that might be nearby," said Aizawa. "What?" asked Mina. "Are you serious?" said Kaminari. "Did you forget what the one back in the USJ did?" asked Kyoka. "That's why I don't want to take any chances," said Aizawa. "Plus there's those who didn't pass the exam that are around here that shouldn't be allowed to fight," said Tenya. The others realized he was right. "Only engage in fighting if you absolutely have to," said Aizawa. The other members of Class 1A agreed. "Remember, you can use me to organize," said Aiko from most of the transceivers and Mashireo's bracelet. "She's right. We'll break into teams," said Ida. "Meanwhile, with the fighting group." "Wait. Don't use observation haki," said Izuku, realizing something. However, he was cut off by Katsuki vomiting. Izuku sighed as Katsuki yelled out, "What fuck?" "Sorry," said Izuku, "I wasn't able to warn you in time." Katsuki recovered from using observation haki. What the fuck are they? Asked Katsuki. I have a theory but I'll tell you later, said Izuku. Katsuki realized that Izuku was hiding something but quickly realized it had to do with his quirk. So I guess we have to go into this blind, he joked. Yeah, replied Izuku. You know the rest of us don't have haki, pointed out Momo, stabbing one of them monster. At the moment, said Katsuki, stabbing another. Todoroki sent some fire at one of the Nomas and smirked. Both of them immediately figured out what Izuku and Katsuki were referring to. Looks like we have to make it out of here, said Todoroki. Izuku kicked one in the face. At the same time, the violet boy put his hands together and started to pull his hand apart. As he did, his hand were slowly turning black while a violet spear was created. I didn't think I'd have to use my license this quickly, said the violet boy. I think I heard like 5 other people say that. A girl from his class. Ha! Laughed the violet boy. He began to fight off one of the Nomas. At the same time, several Nomas were chasing an adorable animal. Cammy giggled. Sorry, but you like totes fell into my trap, she said. That was when several of the Nomas she lured in were blown away. It was Inasa who blew them. Meanwhile, one of their Shiketsu classmates who was covered in hair. Meanwhile, the purple-haired classmate watched scowling. Hey! Yelled Kirishima, running over to them. What is it? Asked Kami. Do all of you have your licenses? Asked Kaminari. Mina was also in the group. As it turned out, they were dead into in 4 teams of 3 and 1 of 4, all of them with an Ico device. Of course that was Kirishima's team. Oh, Seiji didn't pass, said Kami. Kami! Hissed the purple-haired boy. Our teacher asked us to evacuate everyone without a license, said Mina. The boy named Seiji scowled. Shishikura, they have a point, you should evacuate, said the hairy student. The purple-haired boy named Seiji Shishikura swirled and left with them. Just because you passed doesn't mean anything, said Shishikura. This just made the UA group sweat drop. At the same time, the purple-haired girl was sitting at table drinking tea. She looked at the Inomu heading towards her classmates. She took a sip of tea. Due to its positions, the kneecaps have been severely weakened, she called out. Said the girl. One of her classmates attacked it, aiming for the kneecaps. Hey! Called out Toru. She was with Kota and Kyoka. UA students? Asked the purple-haired girl. We're here to evacuate all of the students who didn't get their license, said Toru. Actually, all of students here passed the exam, said the purple-haired girl, taking out her license. Then why are you sitting around drinking tea? Asked Kyoka. My quirk increases my intelligence when I drink tea, said the purple-haired girl. Oh, so you're acting strategist, got it, said Toru. We should find out other students, said Kyoka. Kota nodded and then they left the girl. The Ketsubutsu students were fighting the Nomas. The blonde retracted herself from a punch from a Nomu. That was when Shindo touched the ground and the ground started to shake like an earthquake. Where's Ms. Joke? Asked another of the students. I heard she went to talk to Eraserhead, yelled the blonde girl. At the same time, Aizawa was fighting against some of the Nomu, as they were weaker than the one from the USJ. The fight wasn't as bad, but he was still having a hard time. That was when they started to laugh hysterically. He smirked and began to take them down. Looks like your quirk is effective, said Aizawa. Yeah, that was lucky, said Miss Joke, who became serious. Do you have any idea of these things are? The League of Villains created them, said Aizawa. This is the 5th one that's been cited, said Aiko, 1 during the USJ, 3 during Hosu and 1 during the recent attack on UA's camp. Ms. Joke was confused. I'm Aiko. I am an AI created by Orchestra Rave and I assist UA during emergencies. Said Aiko, my name is actually AIKO, it stands for Artificial Intelligence Knows Objectively. Let me guess you know abjectly that you're better than everyone. Said Ms. Joke. I am so angry right now, you trampled over my joke. Said Aiko, but I love you and know we're going to be good friends. Aizawa just briefly stared into space as he screamed internally. Something he didn't know he would fear, Ms. Joke and Aiko meeting. Also some backup is on the way. Said Aiko. How do you know that? Asked Ms. Joke. That was when they heard what sounded like clapping and stomping. Both of them realized he was close. Does he always have to make an entrance? Asked Aizawa. It comes the quirk. Said Aiko. You got to admit that. Said Ms. Joke with a shrug. And Hibiki flew in, blaring we will rock you. Not only that but he was in his armor, which made sense as it was pretty serious at the moment. How bad are things? Asked Hibiki. Not too bad. Aizawa grudgingly admitted. I can confirm they are all weaker than usual. Said Aiko. Unfortunately this isn't the only location where they appeared. Said Hibiki. Are you serious? Said Aizawa. I've just gotten some reports about other attacks similar to this one, including a few other testing locations. Explained Hibiki. Wait. Said Ms. Joke paling. The League of Villains really wants to send a message right now. Said Hibiki, sending their weaker solidars would do that. It might take a bit longer for backup. Said Aizawa. Yeah, the heroes are going to be divided for sure. Said Hibiki, that including the UA teachers because Class 1B's testing site is among those being attacked. Aizawa gritted his teeth. On the bright side, all might agree to come to this one. Said Hibiki, and he should be here soon. Of course he did. Said Aizawa rolling his eyes. Ms. Joke was confused, unaware of Izuku's mentorship. All right. Let's get this done. Said Hibiki. He joined the fight. He shot many of the Nomu and blasted them away. Aiko, just letting you know. I've picked up Epic Fight Mix number 5. Thanks. Said Hibiki. Aiko, because this is serious and we don't want you blaring everything is awesome or let it go. None of those fit. Yeah, I'd hate to have a Disney song play during fight. Said Hibiki. Aiko, 2 things. Everything is awesome isn't from a Disney movie. And the second is that this playlist does have a Disney song. Why? Asked Hibiki. Aiko, for saying that, the song is next. Hibiki rolled eyes, prepared to be humiliated. However, once the song ended, Hibiki blinked. Oh yeah. I added this song by choice. Said Hibiki. Aiko, you're the one who forgot a Disney song was epic. And so he didn't mind as I'll Make a Man Out of You played. It was a pretty good song to have in a fight, even if it was more of montage song than a fighting song. He blasted several more Nomus. With the 4-1 students they were still fighting the Nomus. Is Hibiki playing a Disney song? Asked Momo. He is. Said Izuku with a sweat drop. Whatever, we need to focus on fighting. Muttered Katsuki, cutting off one of the Nomu's arms. As he had covered his sword in haki, and it seemed easily painful for the Nomu. Izuku noticed the pain and kicked a Nomu, covering his leg in haki this time. It was clear that it was especially painful. Izuku and Bakugo looked at each other, realizing the same thing. It seems like they're really susceptible to armament haki. Said Katsuki, who began to grin. They're like puppets. Said Izuku, remembering something All Might had told him about something involving people given multiple quirks. You're going to have explained big time later. Muttered Katsuki. I know. Sighed Izuku. At the same time Hibiki blasted several away from some injured students. As it turned out, a group consisting of Ida, Sato, and Aoyama showed up. "I'll let you take care of them," said Hibiki. The three nodded. "Aiko, a lot of those students are tired. Tell me something I don't know," said Hibiki. "Aiko, the inventor of Pringles is buried in a Pringles can." Hibiki sighed. "I have to make a list of things that aren't orders," sighed Hibiki. "Aiko, now's not the time though." That was when Aiko decided to announce to all of the devices, "Hey! Another enabled device is coming in range," said Aiko. "Who owned the device?" said Aizawa. "All Might, and before you ask, it's not a transceiver, but an earpiece that I can connect to," said Aiko. "Hibiki has an entire drawer of them, if you ever need a backup, so ask." Aizawa's nodded, figuring that something would happen like that. That was when All Might landed, causing a shock wave that knocked some of the Nomus away. "Have no fear," said All Might, "because I am here." "All right, All Might," cheered one of the students. "I can't believe it's All Might," yelled another. "Well, a bunch of UA students are here and he's their teacher," said another. "Looks like things are going to get handled fairly easily on this front," said Hibiki. "You got that right," said All Might. That was when "I'll make a man out of you" stopped playing and switched over to Duel of the Fates. From their perch, Shigaraki grumbled. "Come now, we knew it was coming," said Jack Attack. "I know, but I was hoping for the other part of the plan," said Shigaraki. "Hey, the next step is still doable, we just have to distract the guy after," said Jack Attack. Shigaraki grumbled. Back on the ground, one of Kurogiri's warp gates appeared and a massive black Nomu appeared. He jumped in and punched All Might, sending him flying. "No way!" yelled Ms. Joke. "Those in the fighting team saw." "Deku!" said Katsuki. "Right," said Izuku. Both of them knew they had to help with that Nomu. Before they could join the fight, the Nomu suddenly grabbed Hibiki. "Shit! It's fast!" cursed Hibiki. The Nomu started to crush Hibiki. All Might had managed to get up and ran towards the. Izuku froze at this sight. "Let him go!" yelled Izuku. That was when a blue wave emerged from Izuku and unleashed over everyone. Every single Nomu fell to the ground unconscious. "You got to learn to control that," said Katsuki. "I know," sighed Izuku. "Even if it's not hockey, I need to give you tips," pointed out Katsuki. "Yeah," sighed Izuku. Then Izuku remembered Hibiki. "Hibiki," said Izuku. "I need some help with my armor," said Hibiki. "It took the brunt of the damage." "So?" said Katsuki. "Fine," groaned Hibiki. Katsuki cut his armor in a certain way. Enough to cut him out. "Holy shit, dude!" yelled a random nearby student as he cut free of the armor. "Are you all right?" asked All Might. "I've had worse," said Hibiki. On the rooftop, Shigaraki was scratching himself. "Tell Master that it's time for the next part of the plan," said Shigaraki, scratching him. "You know, I think he heard it himself," said Jack Attack with a sweat drop. Back on the ground, Hibiki sighed. "Aiko, send in another armor," he said. "Right away." She chirped, "I've also asked all of the students of Class 1A to come here to discuss what's going to happen next." "Good idea," said All Might. "So what's going on the other areas?" "UA at least has deployed certain HORP students, including the Big Three," said All Might. "This is a situation that call for it," said Hibiki. "I hate to agree," sighed Aizawa. The four that were part of the fighting them had walked over. "What about us?" asked Izuku. Well, that thing you can do, said All Might. Something Deku can't control yet, muttered Katsuki, but you can do it too? Asked Hibiki. Katsuki nodded. However, that Izuku start making a face. Izuku, what's wrong? Asked Momo. That was when suddenly some weird grey good emerged out of Izuku's mouth just as the other students of Class 1A arrived. They heard some screams. Izuku wasn't the only one vomiting up the goo. So was Shindo, Kami, the violet boy and the purple-haired girl. Psycho no! Yelled one of the purple-haired girl's classmates. Fujio! Yelled one of the classmates of the violet boy. Kami! Yelled Inasa. No! Yelled Ms. Joke. Katsuki watched in horror as due to the goop Izuku disappeared along with the other 4 students. Achiko fell to her knees and started to cry. Damn it! Screamed Katsuki. In a strange room all 5 of them appeared. All 5 of them were disoriented. However, suddenly a gas filled the air. What? Asked Shindo. Then the purple-haired girl named Psycho collapsed, followed by the violet boy named Fujio. It must be knockout gas, said Shindo. However, the last 3 all collapsed. Izuku, before he passed out, saw a figure wearing a black mask and suit. The figure looked at the passed out students. Do you plan on taking their quirks? Asked Kurogiri, appearing next to him. Not yet, said the masked man, once I defeat All Might. The masked man looked at Izuku, before he and Kurogiri left using Kurogiri's warp. After all, they're just bait, said the masked man. And with that, things had gotten even more complicated. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 78. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.